Well, I was listening to Part A here, and I thought I'd better say the obvious, that if you're getting disillusioned with God, it's your view of God. You need to change it. Change it to what your values are. Okay, that might be pretty awful from other people's point of view. It may have all sorts of faults from established points of view. But you're not going to be able to love with all your heart, soul, mind and strength anything but the personification of what you feel you value. And I do mean feel. You may be able to justify some other God mentally, but your heart's not in it. Why not? Because these are not your values. Not from your feeling experience deep in you. You have to explore that. You have to come to know your God. And you will adjust your views, your values, your heartfelt feelings according to the experience of living accordingly, according to your view of what God needs to be. You see, you are a child of God. God is self-creating. I mean, that's an astonishing concept, isn't it? But in some sense, you see, all life is, isn't it? We haven't mastered yet being able to, I say yet, but ever, I don't know. We haven't mastered yet being able to take non-life and make life with it. We can adapt existing life, we can genetically engineer it, what's there, so to speak. But we're not able to just sit down and make the genetic molecules. Perhaps someday we will be able to, after all. Incredible progress has already been made. Didn't even know about such things as genetics. But do you see, you need to experience the truth of the matter of what you truly, I mean, supposing something starkly obvious, supposing you really think that a drink is the answer, alcohol. And you find it's the answer in small doses. You find socially it's great and it relieves such and such a concern and it becomes your support. And it becomes, perhaps if you stick with it long enough and don't realize the effect it's having on you, it becomes your addiction. And sure, it might be an addiction that you actually can't break in this life. But for the intervention of God, miraculous change take place. Perhaps you don't get that. But you don't stay in this life forever, thank God. You don't stay addicted to it. You die. I don't mean pursue suicide. It's much more reasonable to pursue a better view of God and seek his rescue. Do you see, you need to change your view of what you, in the head, think you value. You think you value the drink, say the alcohol. But in fact, your way of life is starting to show you that you don't value this. It's a living death sentence. So you start to reject it. Your God adjusts accordingly. There's no way he's going to lightly counsel the use of alcohol. Do you see? I don't mean I'm right in saying that. I just mean that will be your reaction. I mean, there may be people in the world like my mum and dad who seem to be able to take alcohol socially and never turn to it as a prop. But perhaps they haven't really been protected, or perhaps they have. But, you know, if you suffered the experience of being addicted to alcohol, and you get released either in this world or the next, you're not going to go back to it. Your whole being will be against it. It'll be part of your value system. Do you see? You'll have made progress. It's the hard way of doing it. I mean, I had the easy way, didn't I? Mum said, try this. I don't like that. Oh, well, we'll try this then. These are better tasting, you know, Crane de Menthe, Dad liked Dram Brewery of the liqueurs. Not here. I don't think I want to go down that road. Do you see, it was already in me, thank God, despite Mum and Dad's complacency, if you like, about such matters. Perhaps they were wise in that find out early on if he's addicted to this sort of thing. I don't know if they were that savvy. They may have been, in a way, you know, because you can steer the child early on and say, yes, but you better look at so-and-so. This chap's suffering for alcoholism. He was, for argument's sake, a banker, and now he's on the street. And his wife left him years ago because she just couldn't live with him any longer. You know, I mean, so forth. You know, you could perhaps steer your child. So I'm not saying that I know what the best way of bringing up kids is. I ought to. I've been a dad longer than almost any other person on the planet. You know, I mean, a dad to a young person. I mean, my youngest is 12 and my eldest is 50. Which is quite a range, isn't it? And of course I spent all my life teaching kids, especially early on, and then teaching adult kids, university students, you know. And now I'm teaching older adult kids, aren't I? Using YouTube. How lovely. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. And to return to what I want to emphasize, if you can't learn from wisdom, be it in some sort of scripture, or good advice, or helpful mentor, you know, person who really is of value to you. I suppose you shouldn't have a teacher according to Jesus' teaching, but call no man teacher anyway, put it that way. But some people are very helpful in what they suggest, aren't they? I don't mean swallow it because you've known they were right in the past, but you do take it seriously and think, well, I wonder if I should think about this a bit more deeply. But if you can't take the indicators, the guidance that seems to be laying around you, then you should you have to rely on experience. And you won't get experience of the truth of the matter if you're following something that's not the truth of the matter. Someone else is God. And there's so many someone else's gods laying around that, I mean, you're not likely to happen on the right one if there is such. You should love your God, your understanding of what the right God, a blessing, it should be. Live according to his existence and his care of you and concern for you. And A, that will alone transform your life. But B, you'll adjust your view through experience very quickly. If you're open to adjusting it, of course. If you're not, and you hang on to something that you find your heart's no longer in, well, you'll just confound yourself and be trapped. You don't do that. So, what was know thyself? Be aware of what's going on in your peace of mind, and by which I mean heart, really. How you feel about things, what you value, what you're going to do to Yeah, sure, a great deal of self-interest early on in childhood. But they grow up, and they grow up fast. And you may need to do the same thing. Although you wouldn't realise it now, any more than the child does realise what it's going to be like to be the adult that they're going to be. Bless you. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.